What's going on, everyone? It's time for another horror anthology film review. Now, at the beginning of October, I did the first one of these, so obviously I was going to do the second one. It's a little past Halloween, but let's continue on to do the sequel, ABCs of Death 2. It was released by Magnet, releasing October 31st, 2014, and it's like 26 short films, which I'm going to go through and rate them all and everything. And I might talk about some of them, and some of them I'm probably going to leave out. I don't want to spoil the whole movie for you guys. So there's probably going to be some spoiler stuff in this, though. So yeah, just stick around. And just so that's a warning. So yeah, let's get started. First, there's like a little wraparound where it's like a teacher in a book that was designed. Who knows who that's by, but yeah, it looked pretty cool. So the first one is Amateur, which was basically a person crawling through a vent trying to fix things and ends up dying, and they find his body a couple of days later. It was directed by E.L. Katz, who did films like Hazel, Cheap Thrills, Small Crimes, and The Troop. I give this one like a 2.5. It was pretty cool, some pretty cool effects, just not very much character interaction or anything in it. B was for Bastard, which was directed by Julian Barrett, who did a film called Curtains. This one was pretty cool. The effects and everything looked cool and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty much a slob that dies. Yeah, I give this one a 3. We're starting off strong. Let's see here. Where are we? C is for Capital Punishment, which was directed by Julian Gilby, who did A Lonely Place to Die, Rise of the Foot Soldier, Parasitic, and Cemetery Fear. And yeah, this one was interesting. It was about like a falsely accused person, but everyone wanted him to die, and they take the law into their own hands and chop his head off and stuff. It looked pretty cool and stuff. It was pretty well done and well shot, so I gave it a 2.5. D was for Deluge, which was directed by Robert Morrison, who did Stop Motion, The Hands, Body Fam, and Separation. This one was a cool claymation sort of style one where, yeah, basically you put something in an alien's butt and the person dies and things, and a lot of other weird stuff happened in it, and it was pretty cool. I gave it a 3. E was for Equilibrium, which was directed by Alejandro Burgos, who did Juan of the Dead, Nightmare Cinema, The Inheritance, and Satanic Hospice. This one was okay. I gave it a 2. It's pretty much your basic thriller sort of style template. F was for Falling. It was directed by Horan Cosnes and Novat Piscato. Thoron Cosnes did Big Bad Wolves and Rabies, and Novat Piscato did Gunpowder Milkshake, and worked on Big Bad Wolves and Rabies. I don't really remember this one, but I thought it was okay at the time, so I gave it a 2 while I was watching it. We got Granted, which is directed by Jim Hoskins, who did The Greasy Strangler, Severed Left Limb, Ebony and Ivory, and Tropical Cocktails. And yeah, I don't really remember this one either, but at the time I thought it was good, and I gave it a 3. Yeah, then H is for Head Games, which was directed by Bill Playmaton, who did I'm Mary. I used a strange persona, The Tang, Idiots and Changes, and Hair High. This was a weird animated one where it's just basically things flying into an animated person's mouths and stuff and causing nuclear war and stuff, which it was pretty amusing. There wasn't really any rhyme or reason to it, though, so I gave it a 2.5. I was for Invincible, which was directed by Eric Matty, who did Baybust, On the Job, She She Lost You, and uh, Honor the Father. I don't really remember anything about this one, but I remember liking it when I was watching it. I gave it a 3 when I was watching it. So, J is for Jesus. This was a really messed up one. It was directed by Denison Ramelno, who did The Night Shifter, Natty's Basement, and Cautionary. Now, this was an interesting one because people had this random tattoos in Spanish, but yeah, it ended up being like um, being pretty cool and stuff, where Jesus was almost like a demon and stuff instead. And they kind of flipped it, which was pretty cool, and the practical effects looked really good, so I gave it a 3. K was for Nell, which was directed by Christina Bozer and Bruno Sampier, who they both worked on the film Nesper, and Christina Bozer also did a movie called Vanishing Waves. I'm not I can't really remember what this one was about, but I thought it was all right, so I gave it a 2 when I was watching it. L is for Legacy. It was directed by Lancelot and Masnal. Yeah, he did films like Invasion 1897, Gang Women Play, Lost Oral, and Emotion Crack. So this was an odd one. This is like a African or South African film short where basically a weird let monster that gets summoned throughout time comes and starts killing off an African village. It's pretty cheap and cheesy and corny, but some of the effects look really laughable, so I gave it a 2. Um, all right, continuing on, we got M, which is for Massacate, which is directed by Robert Boomchick, who did Hilarious, Minutes to Midnight, Horrified, and Seven Hells. I can't remember what this one was about, but I thought it was all right, so I gave it a 2.5 while watching it. N is for Nexus, which is directed by Larry Fessenden, who did Wendigo, Habit, The Last Winter, and Depraved. You're probably going to see a review for The Last Winter coming up soon, but yeah, this one was a little weird and odd, typical Larry Fessenden, but it's still not too bad, so I gave it a 2.5. O was for Ochillo Crazy, which was directed by Haim Oneida, who did Evil Idol Sons, Ghost Reality, and Kinden Prince Okens, which I don't remember very much about this one, but as far as I recall, it was all right, so I gave it a 2. I rated all these while I was watching them, so that's how I know. P was for PPP Scary. It was directed by Todd Rohel, and he did Fuck My Son, Uncle Kent's, Nature Calls, and the Guatemalan Handshake. This was pretty funny. This was like more of a comedy where it's like 3 guys walking and they're scared, and then they see this weird like creature thing that gets closer. One of them disappears and stuff, and of course they all meet their demise. This one was pretty amusing but pretty lackluster at the same time, so I gave it a 1.5. Q was for Questionnaire, which was directed by Ronnie Asher, who did films like Room 237, The Nightmare, A Glitch in the Mystery Box, and Puzzle Scream. This one was interesting because it had like a guy being interviewed and or something, and he's very confident going through the questionnaire, and of course when he gets there he gets turned into a monkey monster. This was done on a low budget and really cheesy, so I gave it a 2. R was for Roulette. It was directed by Marvin Crin, who did films like Blood Glacier, Berlin Undead, Burlel, and Grand's Land. So this one was really weird. It was more like a torture roulette, which we've seen hundreds of times before in other movies like Would You Rather and things like that. And yeah, it's sort of in the similar vein. So I gave it a 1.5. S was for Split. It was produced by Juan Martinez Moreno, and who did uh, Gamer Wolves, Dos Typos Duros, and Un Buen Hombre. So this was a weird Well, and I believe this is the one where a girl basically is trying to slim down, but then her alter ego rips out of her. The practical effects are good in this, though, but I gave it a 2. T was for tentacle porn. Now, this was a messed up one, and it was directed by the Jen and Sylvia Soska, the Soska sisters, which I reviewed some of their stuff, like American Mary. They also did a movie called Rabid. I did see No Evil 2, which I have a review for on here, and Dead Hooker in a Trunk. Now, this was a independent film group was trying to make a porno, and it turns out this tentacle monster comes and kills them. It was pretty cheesy but amusing at the same time. I gave it a 2. U was for Utopia, who was directed by Vincenzo Natali, who did Cube, In the Tall Grass, Split, and Graveyard Rats. So this was an interesting sci-fi one where basically this futuristic universe has a new machine where it goes, but it accidentally kills people in front of everyone. And yeah, I thought it was amusing, but pretty simplistic and dull at the same time. So I gave it a 1.5. V was for Vacation. It was directed by Jerome Sable, who did Stage Fright and The Lesson of Beaver Dam. So this was two friends are on vacation, and one of them decides to video call his wife, where they learn that he's doing hard drugs, cheated on them, but then the girls end up being vampires and kills them while they're talking on the phone, which why wouldn't the girl just hang up? But still, the blood effects and stuff are cool. The acting was terrible in this one, though, so I gave it a 1.5. W was for Wish. It was directed by Steven Kostansky, who did The Void VHS segment VHS 94, PG Psycho Gorman, which I have a review for of that on here, and Frankie Frucco. So this one was it's basically He-Man. It was a pretty much mixture of stop motion and live acting. So some really disturbing imagery and stuff in it. This one was actually pretty well done, so I gave it a 3. X was for Xylophone. Now, I really enjoyed this one. This one was directed by Julia Mary and Alistair Bastillo, who they both did in the film Inside, the Deepness. They also did Leatherface and Livid. So this was basically a babysitter comes and babysits a girl who's playing a xylophone, and she gets annoyed and starts freaking out at her. And then the parents come home and realize the babysitter tore the kid to shreds. Well, and then starts playing the xylophone on the kid's bones. That one's really disturbing. The effects are really good. Overall, it's very well staged and everything. I gave it a 3. Why? It's for Youth. Directed by Soichi Yamaza, who did Vampire Clay and Thorn. I don't really remember this, but I thought it was really hilarious. And this is the one where it was like an acid trip. Like a guy randomly turns into a dog, and they all turn into these weird things that affect the youth and corrupt the youth's minds, which was pretty cool. And it was really well done in stage, so I gave it a 2.5. And finally, we got Zed, which is for Zygote. A lot of people are saying this is the most disturbing one. It was directed by Chris Nash, who did In a Violent Nature, and he's doing In a Violent Nature 2. He also did Skin Fiction and Day of John. So this was a weird one where a pregnant girl doesn't want to give birth to her child, so her husband, who ran away, comes home. So she has a full-blown kid in her stomach still, living and stuff, and then the kid breaks out and takes over her body. It is very dark and weird and pretty well staged and everything. I gave this one a 3.5. So yeah, overall, this one was way better than the first ABCs of Death. They really upped the game and everything. And there was even one where I can't remember which one it was, but it was some like Asian one, and where like a possessed mom is there and they're trying to exorcise her, and basically the demons and stuff go and take over the whole family, which looked really cool too. There is a lot of good stuff in this. There was some cheesy, pointless ones, but still, I thought this one was way better than the other one. I'm going to give ABCs of Death 2 a 3.5 overall. I really enjoyed this, and I thought it was done way better than the other ones. So yeah, ABCs of Death 2, Grid Anthology. Definitely check it out. It's one of those rare times where the sequel is better than the original. But if you do want to check it out, let me just check my notes here where you can find it. Yeah, it is streaming on Shudder, and you can watch it for free on Tubi. So I'll link it down below, so you can watch it for free down there. Also, link down below is my Instagram. That's where I post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my story. I usually put the film title in there and some fun fact or history thing in there as well. Also, my Letterbox down below at Derek P Reviews. That's where I post my first star rating after watching the films. And my Twitter's down below at reviews_Derek. So follow me on those platforms. Stay in loop with this channel. Like this video, share it so more people are aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any films or film franchises in any genre and on any streaming service that you want to hear my opinions on in the future. Comment those down below too. I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can and if I can find them. Also, let me know what your favorite ABCs of Death film is. Also, there is a 2.5, which if you want me to review that, let me know in the comments as well. Make sure you subscribe. Hopefully we find something weird, obscure, and odd that you probably never thought of checking out together. And also, so you hear my opinions on popular films that have come out, classic films, and reviews on other things as well. And don't forget to ring that bell because we're going to do another action horror film in the next review. The huge fallout of Halloween. I got so many to cover. So we're going to review Sinners in the next review. So make sure you tune in for that. And yeah, watch out for all those different ways you could die, from spiritual to people just killing you to natural causes to just ridiculousness. And I guess I'll see you all in the next review. So until then, cheers.